The Mike Gallagher Show.
You could have saw all summer New York City police officers getting assault and beaten. You have Rikers Island where correction officers get stabbed, slashed, beaten every day. And the Democratic Party here in this state and nationwide doesn't say boo. These January 6 guys that assaulted cops, they were in jail for 2 years, 3 years. That's fine with me. If you do the same thing here to a cop in this city, you're lucky you get 3 hours in the slammer.
In the ReliefFactor.com studios, here's Mike.
Gosh, I appreciated seeing New York City Councilman Joe Borelli sort of trashing CNN's Abby Phillip over her hyperventilating about Trump's pardons and commutations for the January 6ers. What a great point he made going into the Lion's Den over there on CNN. And there, boy, are they in a world of hurt over there. Apparently, Acosta was demoted to the graveyard shift. He got midnight, the midnight shift. They're taking him off 10 a.m. and putting him on at midnight, and he's threatening to leave. Oh, no, don't do that. No, what will we do without you, Jim Acosta? They've laid off hundreds of people. Nora O'Donnell got fired. Did you see that? I mean, I don't even really watch the evening news very much anymore, but ultimately, I know that David Muir is ABC. Is Lester Holt the NBC guy? I think he is. And then Nora O'Donnell was CBS, and she is a big-time Trump hater. Big-time Trump hater. Well, last night was her last night. This is an interesting thing. Are the media people getting shuffled around because of Trump? I mean, because that's the accusation, that these big media companies are trying to appease President Trump. I mean, here's an example. I don't want to go back to Joe Borelli and welcome him to the show here in just a moment. But if you don't mind, Councilman, real quick, I want to play this clip of Nora O'Donnell. Remember when Trump accurately pointed out the invasion of Springfield, Ohio by thousands and thousands of illegals from Haiti and the Haitian migrants? Here was the way Nora O'Donnell, who had been the CBS Evening News anchor person, characterized that a while ago.
Donald Trump is blaming Democrats for inflaming political rhetoric, but the former president's own words seem to be increasing the threat of political violence in Springfield, Ohio. That's where a false and ugly accusation against Haitians, thousands of whom are legal permanent residents, is impacting everyday life.
I mean, disgraceful. And I remember a number of months ago, she was like on the warpath night after night after night, and she's supposed to be the anchor woman. Well, she's out. She's out. She's apparently been fired from the anchor desk. Let's go back to this bold, patriotic New York City Councilman Joe Borelli. Here's what he said in that clip that caught our attention the other night on CNN.
You could have saw all summer New York City police officers getting assault and beaten. You have Rikers Island where correction officers get stabbed, slashed, beaten every day. And the Democratic Party here in this state and nationwide doesn't say boo. These January 6 guys that assaulted cops, they were in jail for 2 years, 3 years. That's fine with me. If you do the same thing here to a cop in this city, you're lucky you get 3 hours in the slammer.
California is the same way.
California is the exact same way. So this is, January 6th was not a great day for America. But to your point, it was litigated. Trump ran for office from day one saying he was going to do this. The American public had their chance to weigh in. He got elected, and he did it, and now we're going to have to move forward.
How great is that? Let's welcome the Minority Leader and New York City Councilman Joseph C. Borelli back to the Mike Gallagher Show. Our hero of the week for standing up for some common sense, Councilman. Welcome back. How have you been?
Good. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the moniker. It's well-deserved this time, but especially the other people who've gotten it over the last couple of years.
Well, it's astounding to watch the way they have tried to weaponize January 6th. And you put it in perfect perspective. Wasn't a great day, you know? A lot of people did stupid things. But they've turned it into Pearl Harbor meets 9/11, meets, the bubonic plague as the worst thing that ever happened to the United States. And, Joe, I think you'd agree with me. They don't believe that. It's about as realistic as calling Trump a fascist or Adolf Hitler. They don't believe it. It's just empty-headed rhetoric.
No, it's as real as their sudden love for law enforcement. And to kind of expand on what I mentioned there, there's been, I couldn't even count how many times we've brought in, correction officers. In fact, one press conference we had in City Hall and in the state capitol here, we had photographs of the horrific, gruesome injuries that New York City and state correction officers routinely get. People who are slashed, their faces gushing open with blood, women who are sexually assaulted, women COs who have gotten horrible things done to them. And we can't even get Democrats to stand with us to say that people who do this are bad or wrong. Now, suddenly, because there's a political context and sort of ramifications to appease their base, suddenly it's okay to back the blue and to be big fans of law enforcement. People, they see right through this. It doesn't pass the smell test. It doesn't pass any question of their veracity in what they're trying to do. And I'm glad, Abby Phillips had me on. By the way, I will give that show a little credit. That show wants people to come on and actually start arguments. So, I mean, in fairness, they want me to come on there and yell and scream. I'm happy to do so.
Well, look at the presence of Scott Jennings. I mean, they let him talk, and he does a splendid job. And, of course, a lot of the people in that audience hate him, but those of us who can stomach CNN for more than 5 minutes at a time love what he represents. Councilman, let's talk a little bit about New York City, because I often think about New York, in particular Manhattan, over this whole illegal immigration debate. Now, for people who aren't that familiar with the way New York is laid out, with the 5 boroughs, you represent Staten Island's South Shore. Staten Island is sort of an oasis in a desert of loony liberalism. Staten Island is right. It's a home to cops, to firefighters, to conservatives, to common sense, ordinary people. And again, it's an anomaly, really, as far as New York City goes, because certainly Manhattan is overwhelmingly blue. The other boroughs are pretty liberal. When I'm in New York, I stay right by a hotel called the Row Hotel on 8th Avenue. And every single time I'm there, I am stunned. Next time I go, I'm going to get out my iPhone and take video for the audience at the hundreds and hundreds of Hispanic people who are on the street. These are men, women, and children. Sometimes at midnight, 1 in the morning, got little kids running around, scampering. These are all illegals who are being housed at a luxury hotel in Midtown Manhattan that has been turned into a migrant center. Now, Joe, can you talk a little bit about a New Yorker's perspective about Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration? What will it do to a city like New York, where we all know that, unfortunately, there are many, many illegals who are living and working in New York City? How dramatic a change is this going to be for the city of New York?
Well, I mean, it's already cost us actual dollars out of pocket, $6.5 billion, which is more than the budget of some states, which, if you can believe that, it's true. It's more than the fire department we pay for every day. It's more than the parks department, more than major city agencies spend in a year we're spending on this crisis. We are already seeing the ramifications of the Trump presidency. As soon as he was elected, there was a drop off of people coming to this city. And as a result, the mayor here actually closed about 13 migrant shelters. That's a positive sign. But right now, we are, and the mayor is too, to his credit, we are all behind Tom Homan getting rid of people who are here, not just illegally, but who are here also committing new crimes or have been convicted of crimes in the past or have been already adjudicated to have been removed. I mean, these are people that I frankly can't wait to see Eric Adams' opponents, and I got my popcorn ready. I can't wait to see Eric Adams' opponents bend themselves into a pretzel trying to defend the rights of people who have, convictions of rape in their home countries, or people who have already been deported multiple times. I mean, let them try to stand there and have New Yorkers make sense of what they're trying to say. Because I think the current mayor, I think, the threat of Mayor Cuomo, perhaps, I think a lot of the better politicians have read the tea leaves and read the poll numbers a little better than some of the woke lefty liberals here. And they're seeing that New Yorkers are just sick and tired of this problem.
You mentioned, Joe, how you're already seeing the Trump effect and the crackdown on illegal immigration in New York City. How about this? Our southern border has seen a sharp drop in illegal immigrant encounters in just the first few days of the Trump administration compared to the final few days of the Biden administration. That's according to multiple Department of Homeland Security sources. The number of Border Patrol encounters at the southern border in the first 3 days of the Trump administration is 35% lower than the final 3 days of the Biden administration. So you're right. The Trump effect is immediate. You mentioned Tom Holman. I got to play this clip for you. This is classic. There was an illegal immigrant from Haiti who was scooped up, and there were cameras around, and he decided to let loose with a promise about how he's never going to go back to Haiti, and he praised the political leaders who are responsible for him being here in the first place. Check this out.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Yep. So the gang member, Councilman, said, F Trump, Joe Biden forever. I thank Obama for everything he's done for me. Tom Holman on Fox News Channel, who you mentioned, had a little reaction to the gang member, promising he'll never go back to Haiti.
You see that video, I'm curious, what do you think?
Well, he's wrong. He's going back to Haiti. I can tell him that.
Hey, guess what? Narrator voice, you're going back to Haiti. Yeah. So these changes, Councilman, are being felt right away.
Look, I mean, those videos, could have been mashed up by Dan Scavino or Alex Bruzewitz or Charlie Kirk or one of those great guys who do these meme videos all the time, because it's that comical that this is what the Democratic Party is actually representing. This man was look, this guy's a truth teller. This guy is telling the absolute truth. Joe Biden allowed him to come into this country and commit all sorts of acts of crime and violence. And because of Donald Trump, because the people elected Donald Trump, won every swing state, won the popular vote, mostly on this issue, because of Donald Trump, this guy is going back to Haiti no matter whether he wants to or not.
Councilman Joe Borelli, again, you're one of the shining examples of what could be in New York City. Incidentally, I got a text the other day from our mutual friend, Frank Morano. Is Frankie Five Boroughs going to run for office in Staten Island? What do you hear about that? Because I hear rumors.
Mike, you got to call him one borough now, because in Staten Islanders, we're a little exclusive. We don't like to favor the other one. So he's Frankie One Borough, Staten Island, and yes, he is running for city council to replace me, and I think he'll do a fine job.
Now, how's that going to work? I mean, he'll lose his gig over there at WABC?
I mean, he's on pretty late at night, so I'm not sure how upset him and his family are going to be that he's not out all night on the radio. I think the listeners are going to miss him more, because his show really is great. You turn on the channel late at night, he's got all sorts of great guests, and he does nice long form interviews.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, real quirky, and he's a dear friend of mine, Frank Morano, the other side of midnight, and it looks like he might be. Look, he'll win. And your term is up when?
The end of the year. So I'm out no matter what.
And then what? What's next for Joe Borelli?
I think I'll be heading to the private sector, Mike. I think 20 years in government has been enough time in New York City, and I think I've pushed the pendulum back a little bit. But now we need some fresh blood, some new blood. I'm a big fan of getting some new, vibrant life in politics.
And a new fan of making some money for a change. Good for you. So you deserve it. I think you deserve it. Councilman Joseph C. Borelli, appreciate you joining us. Keep fighting the good fight. We'll see you soon in New York.